What's up, guys? Let me load this up quickly. We got a quick one today. It's a special edition. Oh, it started. Sweet baby Jesus. Sweet baby Jesus. All right. What's up, guys? See what my plot here. We got a special one for you guys today. We are going to talk about tactics, how to read a map, how I get out and chase Lake Simcoe, lake trout, and whitefish. And my whiteboard here. And we're going to go with the whiteboard. I'm going to make maps, show you the currents, how to target shoals, and what I'm doing on a daily basis when I get out on Simcoe. So I just bought this board today. I wasn't going to have a podcast. A few things happened over the weekend. I got really sick. I can barely talk. I'm not feeling the greatest right now with my stomach and my body-wise. As you can see, I got some wounds. Friday night, went out there to put some fuel in the sled, and it's faster for me to go through the lake than put the sled on the trailer and bring it to the gas station. I did that. It was a super hectic day for me on Friday. So when I got done work, I cleaned up the driveway and I got on the lake, and I launched that sled into a pressure crack doing about $1.30. So I'm kind of lucky to be here in one piece. It was pretty bad. My nose was bleeding. My head was fine because I had my helmet on. My sled is miraculously fine. So what happens, I turned the corner, and I should have went slow first because I hadn't took that route this year. And I was actually in a really back bay where it's super shallow, like 4 feet of water. There shouldn't be any pressure cracks or anything, but I took that for granted, and I punched it around the corner. I just wanted to go home. I had to go pick up my buddy sled with my trailer. I had a packed up day. The next day I had a guided trip, so obviously not thinking properly. So I punched it, hit that pressure crack, and I'm lucky in many ways. I hit the pressure crack. It was on an angle. So luckily I didn't hit it coming this way because I'd be dead. I hit it this way. The sled flew. I flew further than the sled. I tumbled about 8-10 times. I can't remember. And as soon as I stopped rolling, I'm like, okay, I'm fine. Okay. And then the sled ran me over. That's pretty funny. Yeah, I was close to shore, and I guarantee you there's some cottagers that saw it, or people who live on the lake. I got back on my sled quick to show them I was fine, and I was fine. I was just more shocked than anything. Yeah. So, yeah, tip top. I'm sore. Feel like I got into a fight with a grizzly bear. My muscles are sore. I got nothing broken. My joints are really sore. Yeah. The sled is fine. There's nothing wrong with the sled other than the fact that when I stopped rolling over, the sled ran me over. That was the icing on the cake. So I didn't even check if the mic was on, but apparently it's on. Thank God. I should have grabbed a bottle of water. I'm not doing beer on this one today, guys. I'm going to rest up my brain a little bit. But we're going to draw a map as much as I can, and we're going to show you what I target, what the currents are on Lake Simcoe. Not the condition, but I push to release the natural and keep the stock fish if you can. I did talk to my buddy Will Weckman, and he told me how you can check if they can be reproducing, although they're stock fish. There's a very limited way to do that, and only the MNR can conduct those researches. No special guests today. That's why it's a Q&A. So no special guests. I'm going to answer all your questions. I know you guys have a lot of questions. One thing I want to bring you guys up to speed. Elix 7 ice bundle. One thing I did the minute I got on Lake Simcoe is I got a spare transducer that I have for my other units. And this is an 83-200 Chirp transducer. Very different than the 15/20 degree angle cone. This one has the 83 and 200 hertz. I can have a wider beam, being at 83 hertz. So if I'm in 20 feet of water, it's going to give me a beam of about 20 feet. And if I'm in 30, it's going to be beam about 30. But the refresh rate, it's much slower. I just find it better. My bait show's thicker, and it's just so much easier. So I've completely abandoned using the juicer that came with this unit. Although this transducer, or deucer as I call it, that came with this unit. If you're shallow fishing for panfish, walleye, crappies, bluegills, perch, it's wicked. The target separation, the unit's super fast. It's real time. I'm not bashing that transducer. It's just if I'm going to fish a bit deeper, I really like this deucer. And I have a spare deucer. Sometimes the cable breaks, you know, you cut it and stuff like that. So that's what I've done with this unit. So far, the unit's been treating me really well. Now I have 2 transducers with it, and I play with it. I keep a clamp on it like this. I can clamp it to my snowmobile windshield. I can see where I'm going. Andrew is a good question. We're going to keep that for a bit after we are going to do a bit of drawing. This podcast or Q&A is going to be very short, but it's going to be very informative. So I'm going to draw Lake Simcoe as best as I can. I'm no artist. That's why I don't do paintings for a living. So bear with me on here. And this won't go on iTunes. It'll only be available on YouTube. The last podcast from last week was our best podcast with Brian Johnson. We got 1,300 views and climbing. It's now on podbean.com. So for you Android guys can download that app. And also iTunes users, it's all been uploaded. You can go and check it out. It was really cool to have Brian. I hope to have him again. So we got Lake Simcoe, and bear with me. It's got a few bays like this. Ooh, I'm messing it up right now. Wow. And this is why you don't see me draw too often. All right. It's actually pretty bad. I got a thumbs up for that, right? It's actually pretty bad. We might restart this one. Yeah, we're gonna restart this one. Hold on. That's Kempenfeld. You can't see it. That's Aurelia. That's the little base beside Aurelia. That's the old East End, and that's Cookie Bay. Let's redo this. Hold on. Practice. Obviously didn't practice. The board's brand new. I bought it for you guys. Oh, easy to clean up. I like it. So I apparently have to go smaller on my scale. We are going to do camp. We are going to do the top end, and I'm not going to do a small base. There you go. That's about how Lake Simcoe is. If we take all the small bays, we're talking whitefish and lake trout. You got Aurelia. You got a B. We're going to call it B for Beaverton. You got Duclos Point. I don't know if you guys can see this. You got Cooks. And you got Kent. So if you divide the lake in 4 corners, you got the northeast end, the northwest end. You got the main lake, which we call main lake here. You got Cooks Bay, obviously very pressured. But the main thing why I want to draw this up is to signify where most of the current is coming from. You got the Talbot River, this is where most of your flow is coming through the season, especially once they open the lock during the summer, but we're talking in the winter. So the Talbot River, you'll have a lot of current, which will come right in front of Toro Island and go straight to Aurelia, feeding all those shoals on the east end. You got Kempenfeld, which has current, but there's not much rivers. There's a small river in Kempenfeld, but a lot of current comes in like this and comes out this way. You got a small river at the bottom of Duclos Point. I can't remember the name of it. You got the Holland River right down here. You got the Keswick River, which comes up right here. The Holland River doesn't play as much current as you think it does. I did talk to a few people today about the Holland River. I was even asking myself, you know, is it going east? Is it going north? It's a pretty small current that divides towards Newmarket. So we're not going to play that as much. And if you look at satellite imaging over the last few years, Keswick River has more current. And instead of going down, as you would think, down the bottom of Cook's Bay, it always goes up. So that tells you there's no current going back down the bottom of Cook's Bay as much as you think. I got to do the islands. There's one island here, one island here, one big island here, one island here, and there's a couple islands up here. So you got your islands. Your current are going this way. And if we're talking current, this current actually comes up this way. If you're talking current, we're going to erase this board. Remember the current, how I talk about shoals, the fish staging in different areas on the shoal, depending on if they're feeding or resting. Those currents are pretty steady all year around. A lot of people are asking, where do I go fish? What do I look for? I look mostly at shoals close to permanent current. So if we're looking at the shoals, we're going to make the shoals blue. There's a few shoals down here. One of them is called Long Shoals. There's another one up here. There's one at the mouth of Kempenfelt. There's the Oro Shoal. And there's a few shoals right around here all the way to Aurelia. There's White Shoal in the middle of the lake. There's a bunch of little shoals up here. And same thing. There's a bunch of shoals going all the way to Aurelia. There's a few shoals up here. And there's a few in Kempenfelt at the bottom of Duclos, or around Duclos. And there's a few ones up here. This is obviously done fairly quickly. When I'm targeting those shoals, I want to know where the current's coming from. So let's say you're talking about Oro 7. You know, you got Oro 7, you know the current's going north towards Aurelia. It's got to come out somewhere. And we're not talking a massive current. We're talking a very slow-paced current. But every time I have my camera down there and I bring back the footage like I did yesterday, I will go make a cloud with, let's say, my vibrato or my drifter or whatever I'm fishing with. That cloud is gone within seconds. And it tells me where the current is going. That's why I understand where the current is going, because I put my camera down. Every time I go fishing, I bring back home. I know where my camera was facing, where my hut was facing. I put it in there, and I see where the current goes, and I see where those fish are coming from, where they're going to stage, or if they're coming from every different ways. So if I was to fish the Oro Shoal, I think it's Oro Reef, if you call it, your current's coming from the south end going into the north end. Your most active fish, but you'll have less, will be on the south side of the shoal. Most of your fish will be at the bottom end or the north end of this shoal, resting. They could be feeding, but most of them are going to be resting here. When you get a moon phase, that creates some current. Creating some current, a lot of these fish are going to go on top of that shoal during that moon phase and start to feed. The closer the fish will be facing the current, the more they'll be feeding. You'll be seeing less fish up here. Most of your fish will be at the bottom end, but the fish that are going to be facing the current will be eating more. Same thing applies to all these shoals on the lake where there's current. The more current, the better, the more active those fish will be. So it's really cool to think about, you know, Lake Simcoe. When you look at it on a map, you think it's a bowl. You think there's no current, and you know it's far from the truth. A lot of people will tell you 90% of the fish are in 10% of the lake. While it's true for bass, it's very different when you're talking about whitefish and lake trout. We're going to erase this, and we're going to talk about what's going on this year and what I'm seeing. And that's my opinion. Doesn't mean it's the opinion. I'll take this off. Doesn't mean it's the right opinion, but that's my opinion. It's the way I see things. This year is fishing completely different than it's been fishing the past 3 years. And these are my train of thoughts. And this is what I'm doing in my head, planning my weekend, Saturday, Sunday, what I'm going to do. I'm going to erase this. Who likes the smell of Windex? I think Windex smells fantastic. This should do a perfume out of Windex. All right. Let's see if I can write back on it. So, again, okay. So you have Camping Felt. Barry being right here, we're going to call it B. You got Camping Felt. A lot of these lake trouts will push up here and literally spawn on top of the big marina where the rocks are. So the marina, the downtown Barry Marina, there's a big dock right here full of rocks. They'll spawn on that. And there's another sailboat marina. They'll come and spawn on that. So are the whitefish. So in November, all these lake trouts are going this way. Spawning. And the lake trout's not like a bass. They'll come, they'll spawn for a few seconds, it'll leave, and then they might come back a few days later and lay more eggs, depending how big it is. Same with the whitefish. And if you think they're spawning on shoals, there's actually more fish that are going to spawn on shore than they are on shoals on Lake Simcoe. And that's my opinion. You have a river coming here, another river coming by the beach, and another river right in the marina. That's where all those minnows will be staging in the fall. They're trying to go up the river. They did a construction. I don't know how that's going to affect the bait fish. But a lot of these lake trout, they come and spawn on the sand and rock right here. And when they've done their things, ice is starting to build up. So they're making their way back out or staying in the bay. You know, just doing circles. Right now, what we're seeing in Camping Felt, it's full of herring. The minute you get in 40 feet of water, you cannot keep them off your bait. And that's really good to see because we were not seeing that in Camping Felt for the past 3 years. I'm a guy that grinded my teeth and did all my work in Camping Felt for years. I would stay in the bay year round. I would not leave it. Now, I wouldn't have 10 fish days all year through February. But at the beginning of the season, I would have 20, 30, 40 fish days with other people. And as the season progressed, it would die down. And as the season would slow down, as the season would progress, just like the fish, we would be slowly moving out at the end of Camping Felt. Towards that shoal, a lot of these fish, you know, mid-February, they're staging around the main shoal here. The mouth of Camping Felt, as we call it, which is, it's big. It goes from Big Bay Point to Oro 7 to me in my head. They can cruise the main lake. And as you're getting closer to end of February, a lot of these fish are starting to target literally straight shoals. They'll be on shoals for more than just an hour or two a day. They'll be spending all their time around the shoals, relaxing. And there's a reason for that. As the ice builds up, the oxygen depletes in 120 feet of water. When the oxygen depletes, a lot of plankton rises up, and so are the bait fish following it. The bait fish following it, you're getting a bit more sun because you're getting close to March, it's getting close to spring, and you're getting atches down on those shoals. You're not going to get an atch in 60, 80, 100 feet of water because the sun doesn't penetrate all the way there, and it's also silt. Those bugs, other than bloodworms, you know, the larvas, the small gobies, what do you call them? The hellgrammites, they'll grow on structure like rocks and sand, zebra mussels. So, and all that structure is around 60 feet and up on Lake Simcoe. So all those fish, as the season progresses, will be moving towards shoal. Right now, if you're fishing this weekend, that's what I'm doing. I'm going to Camping Felt. You know, I'm going to stage around, you know, from Oro 2 to Bear Point, and I'm going to try to find some fish around the mouth. And it's not going to be a numbers days. I don't care who you are. You're going to tell me you're going to catch 30 trouts a day. It's just not happening. It's a thing of the past. These are things that happen on opener, early January, and late in March. You're going to be out here, and literally those trouts are roaming. So you can sit all day and mark a bunch of trouts. They should be willing. You're going to mark a lot, but you're not fishing as structured as you think as you would if you're going shallow. Now, if you're going shallow, you know, you're going to mark 1 or 2 trouts, but those trouts are going to be willing to bite right away. Let's erase this one. So these are the things I'm seeing on Lake Simcoe. Kempenfelt. A lot of those fish are in Kempenfelt right now. The whitefish hasn't changed much. You know, a lot of minnows down there. A lot of those whitefish are eating minnows. There's a lot of lake herring in Kempenfelt right now, and a lot of trouts are being caught in Kempenfelt. I'm not saying the shallow bite is gone. The shallow bite has been there all year. But in the past, Kempenfelt would die really quickly. It was hard to get bites in Kempenfelt in the past few years. Now, if you want to catch a lake trout, you're probably going to have more chance catching it in Kempenfelt. You know, start deep, 120 feet of water, and then walk back towards shore all the way to 60. That's something I do. Main baits you're going to use when you're out there, it's going to be your white swim bait. As the season progresses, I add color to my swim bait. They're a bit more picky, so I like to throw natural color, you know, like a smelt or a herring color. So I'm going to move from white, and I'm going to go natural, like blue, black, and silver combination. And as the season progresses, those colors will go into more aggressive colors because those fish are more aggressive. So they want to see the bait from further. There's more snow on the ice, so I'm gonna add chartreuse to my tail. Same thing with the white tubes. You know, now if I'm gonna go deep, I'm gonna throw a tube that's more natural. They're a bit more picky. They've seen a lot more baits too. Lipless crankbait, probably my favorite bait to catch them on. 2 big treble hooks. They bite it, they get hooked. It's fun. It's an aggressive bait. Now, the thing is with the lipless, you have ball bearings and you have lipless that are silent. The silents are really hard to get, and they usually don't go as deep as quick. What I do with mine is I drill them out. I drill the ball bearing out, and I shoot some resin into it. Now the bait's heavier, sinks them much faster, and you don't have that rattling sound. Something our bait fish don't do around here. You know, we're fishing clear water. Those fish are sight feeders. So swim bait, tube, lipless, vibrato. Of course, the vibrato is a staple bait. The drifter is not something I'm going to use as much when I go deeper. Again, if I'm 60 feet of water or up, the drifter's on. It's been a staple bait for me for the past 2 years. If I'm fishing shallow, which is 60 feet or shallower, where I'm fishing structure, the drifter has to be on. It's a no-brainer. The fish are choking on that right now. And, you know, I like using a spoon. I'm a fan of a spoon. It attracts a lot of fish, but it tangles in my other line a lot. So is a big white tube. It'll tangle in your other line. So that's something I'm going to use alone. And I'll have a really heavy swim bait ready for when I mark one. I'll bring back the spoon and I'll chuck the swim bait down to try to get the attention. Those are my staple baits for deep water. The Freedom Turnback Shad is good. It covers a lot of water, just like a tube. I like it a lot. It's heavy enough. And, you know, a big white, I got it right here. That's something that's really good in deep water. A Hydra Shad. You can put a swim bait on there. I put a white lizard, just more profile, more action. Crazy action on that. Those are my bait. If I'm going to fish whitefish deeper than 60 feet of water, it's going to be vibrato, a small, minnow-size plastic. So Berkeley, what do you call them? They're drop shot minnows. That's something I'd use. Anything that looks like a minnow that's real. Set the hook crush worm that looks a lot like a bait fish in silver. That's what the whitefish will be keen in, 60 feet or deeper. You don't have that structure where the gobies will be around. There's no gobies on silt. Gobies are always on hard bottom. Now, another thing, why, if we forget about going deep, let's talk about, this is your bottom structure, and 60 feet and up. You got boulders everywhere, and then you get your big boulder. What I like fishing is an area like this, where there's space in between the boulder, and those boulders, when you're looking down, it just looks brown. You're not going to see that this boulder is 2 feet high. It's really hard to do, especially right now. Let's say in 40 feet of water. What you're going to see is you're going to see patch of brown, and then in between here, it's going to be patch of clear. Those are sand patches. But the big thing that happened on Lake Simcoe this year is we had a massive algae bloom. It was a hot summer, and it went all the way through to October. And that algae bloom, what the algae bloom does is you get algae on top of these rocks, algae on top of the sand, algae on top of the gravel, and it's everywhere. And I think this is why the drifter is shining, because what happens is my drifter, I'm fishing on a 1/8. It's a super lightweight. That's what I'm using for bass in the summer when I'm throwing a little jig, a little swim bait, or a tube. I don't want it to fall down. I'm going to try a different color here. I don't want it to fall down and disappear in the moss, in the silt. I don't want it to disappear in the algae either. So me using a lightweight allows the bait to, you know, this is, let's say your moss. It allows my bait to come and sit down here. Little jig head, little tail, instead of burying itself. So those fish are seeing it. If it's buried in the muck, those fish, if they're picky, they're just going to touch it. They're not going to touch it. So that's why I really like using that drifter. You get those pockets, and although you're looking down and you think it's clear, trust me, I've put a camera down there. I'm like, oh, this is all clear sand. And I get down there and there's like 2 inches of that green slime all over the water. Especially if you're fishing 30 feet and up, that's where the algae bloom is affected, this light penetration. During the summer, we didn't get many days where it was overcast. This is where that algae will grow on those rocks, and it's everywhere right now. If you find a spot, you put your camera down there, you're able to have a camera. I don't really use my AquaView in the winter, but if you do, and you're like, you got a clear patch, the fish are going to come. They really enjoy that. They know they can pick their food, and those little gobies are not hiding in that moss. So that really helps. I think that's why the drifter has been really key this year, because every spot I've been to has that green moss everywhere. If you look at my videos, the underwater footage, they all have that green moss. If you look at my underwater footage videos from the years before, some of it is the same sort of area, and it's clear. There's no moss on it. I need to raise that here. So we've covered it before. You know, I'm going to sit down here. We've covered it before. Shallow, 60 feet or shallower, you know, lipless, the drifter, white tube. The swim bait goes away from me. I feel the swim bait is something that you got to instigate them. It imitates the herring. And before the swim bait gets its steady action, it takes a couple turn of the handle. And I feel that a lipless will do more justice. It's a more compact, and it will make vibration. A swim bait, you got to bring it a bit faster. It gets to the top too quick, and a lot of those fish will turn away. So far, the past few weeks, you know, the minute you attract them with something big, you pull it away, and you catch them on the drifter. I went out with Ono, I went out with LB, I went out with my other friends, and it's going to sound bad, but I'm using my friends to catch fish. They know that. They're using a lipless. They're using something loud. It attracts them, and I'm just over there with something flashy and my drifter waiting, and those fish are like, there's some flashy over there. We're going to go check it out too. And they get there, and I got the finesse bait on, and I catch them 5-1. It's not because I'm a better angler. It's just, I think that drifter on a lighter head, better presentation really helps. Peter's going to hate me for that. But I've been bugging him for a color, and I'm trying to get him to call it the Seabass color, but he doesn't want. He wants to call it the winter gobies. So tell Peter to listen to me. It'd be great to have my own color. It's very similar to juvenile goby when I've asked for some darker spots. So what I've been doing, and Peter's gonna get upset on this one. So what I've been doing, and I'm gonna try to do a drifter here with the eyes. The eyes are key. So you get your drifter, and right now you got a color on bottom right here, just like a goby. But a lot of the gobies we're catching on Lake Simcoe have really, really black spot, just like this. And especially the tail is black. The tail is black. So those, what I've been doing on my drifter, if you can see in the video, I've been using a black marker and doing this on them. Now, it doesn't mean that they wouldn't bite the juvenile goby. They do. It's just a confidence thing. It doesn't cost me anything more. And I put a little scent on it to mask the marker. So that really helps. But every fish that I've caught that have puke gobies, black tail, the side fins are black brown with a little orange in it and a lot of black spots. And it's really hard for Peter to make those black spots because, you know, they're fairly big. You can't just pour black spot everywhere. The packs would cost you $100. So that's what I've been doing lately for my drifter to get me more bites. It's just that little extra. I'm reading some of the questions. You love the illustration. Hey, I'm trying, man. That's pretty accurate. Pretty accurate. 1-2 said he tried I've never had that issue. Never. I don't know how you put him back on. I don't have issues with that at all. I think I got him right here. Okay, you're asking me. There you got it. Okay. Berkeley don't give me anything. This is the jig that I use. Don't ask me all the time. You got it right here. Okay, that's the jig I use right here. Okay, it's a 1/0 hook, 1/8 half head jig head. I'm gonna take one out. I'm gonna run to my collection of drifter and I'm gonna put one on. There you go. So you guys got it here. I got my drifter here. And it's pretty simple. I started like this. Right dead smack in the middle. Straight like a surgeon. And once this starts to turn and I'm even with the point of the hook, that's when I poke it through in the middle. Boom, no problem. Now, this is the important part for me. This needs to be straight, like this. That's a straight presentation. And if that doesn't look like a goby, then you know. This one doesn't have eyes on it. It doesn't have eyes on it because I glued them myself. I glued them on. I'm not making Peter do all the work. So when I get out, you know, I glued them on. It's not because I don't want eyes on it. I want the eyes. I just got to glue them on. I don't want Peter to do all the work. I use a lot of drifter. He's helping me out. So this is how I rig it. This is your Berkeley half a jig head. It doesn't split open. You know, if you're rough with it, it might split open. It's one of the reasons why that bait works so much is it's not crumbed up with big particle of salt, and it's a very soft plastozote. It's not one of those stiff plastozote where they pour salt in it, and you're getting half salt, and but half salt into your bait. It's a softer bait that has a lot of action, although it's barely moving. So you got it. They're fragile. You got to be careful with them. It is what it is, but they work like a charm. Color X. This is color X right here. This is color X. It's the same color I just had in my hand. Very similar to the juvenile goby, but it's got a purple belly at the bottom. Would work just as good as the juvenile goby. Yeah, 2 eyes. I put one eye's on each side. One eye there, one eye on the other side. What do I use for burbot? I don't really target them. I went out and looked for burbot, and I caught a few small ones this year, not on Lake Simcoe. And I use just a small glow-in-the-dark jig or vibrato, little spoon tip with a minnow. Jacob's Barber is asking if I'm going to stick with the Mega Imaging or Mega Plus. To be honest with you, as much as I love Humminbird, the Lowrance, Humminbird, and Garmin keep coming up with new technology every year. Well, while they could have came with all together and then come out with a new unit every year, you can't be upgrading every year. I mean, the Mega Plus doesn't give me that much more to spend another 10 grand on fish finders. So no, I'm going to wait. I'm going to wait. My fish finders are still under warranty. It's getting too crazy. Drew, you can send me a Tom Brady jersey if you want. I need a bathroom mat, you know. I got to rep my boys, Colorado. Thanks, Eric. I appreciate it, man. Eric, you know, he asked me for my email address, wrote me 3 massive email. I try to reply as much as possible. I got a lot of you guys asking me questions. I love it. Keep sending your questions. You know, Eric's from Maine. He fishes a different body water, and every body of water different. You would think Cooch is attached to Lake Simcoe. You'd think it'd be loaded with whiteys. I'm sure there's a couple whiteys in Lake Coochaching. I don't target it at all, but it fishes completely different. Same with the pike, same with the perch. It's very different. So I tried to have an eye open, different vision, and I told him what I would look for. You know, it's very, very different this year. What worked on Lake Simcoe last year is very different than what worked what's working this year. If you want to target, you know, let's say lake trout. What's the shallow water versus the deep bite like right now? The deep bite is much better for lake trout. This is where you're going to get your numbers, you know, 4 or 5 lake trouts a day. The shallow bite is great, but it seems there's a lot of action at the mouth of Kempenfelt right now. And in Kempenfelt, there's a lot of trout that are willing to play. The herring are back. Not that they're gone. They're just back in Kempenfelt, and they seem to be staying in Kempenfelt. Thanks, Drew. Drew got his first lake trout on lipless anytime. No, Scott, if you want to see how I'm fishing the drifter, honestly, my how to catch whitefish on Lake Simcoe, that's exactly how I get them. Let's go back on the board. Let's see, Ray's a little drifty here. So, see if we can do it here. Your lake bottom. And if you get rocks like this, it's really hard when you put your bait down here for the fish to pick it apart. So you don't want just boulders. It's really hard for the fish to get your bait down there. The whitefish really like to blow on sand and pick it at sand and stuff like that. So straight rocks is not the greatest. You want to look at spots, like I said before, with spacing in between, with sand in between. And I try to have my bait, you know, at least land in sand. And where I'm going to have the drifter is laying right on bottom right here. I don't know if you guys can see. No, you can't. No, you can't. Let's zoom in this. ×2. Zoom in it. There you go. You get your big drift, your big boulder. That's probably a few inches up, but we're zoomed in, and you get your big boulder here. And where I would fish the drifter would be here. And literally laying it on bottom. Woo! Little eyes, little tail, little ribs. This is where I'd be fishing it. Literally on bottom. But you got to let those fish talk to you. If those fish are willing to rise up and nip at it, and miss, and then you see that fish. I'll raise this again. Hold on a second. Because there's a few styles. If they're really aggressive, you don't need to have it on bottom. If this is your bait, this is the bottom, and you see your fish finder, your bait's up here. Okay, I want him to see my bait. And the fish rises up. I'm going to lift my bait. And if I see that fish rise on my bait like this, miss it and keep going up, that means he missed your bait. Right here. You try to nip at it, and you just miss it. They're lethargic, man. They're sea cows. They're not the smartest thing ever. That means he missed it. That means he was willing to strike it moving up. So I'm going to keep moving up. But if they come like this, but if they come like this, your bait's up here. And if they come like this, and as soon as you move it up, they go like this, they're not willing to bite it moving up. They're telling you, okay, I saw you now, but that's not how I'm feeling. That's not my pattern this week. My pattern is I'm moving it. I want it on bottom, so I'm going to drop my bait down on bottom. That fish will meet me there, and that mark will stay here. That tells you if that mark is big on bottom on top of your bait, he's around. He's positioning himself. So you'll see the mark going and detaching itself to the bottom, going on bottom, detaching itself. That means he's just positioning himself. He's a cow, man. It's like me when I get out of the couch. It's not like a 5-year-old springing back out. It's like, oh, okay, okay. You know what I mean? Those fish are not like a lake trout. Let them position themselves. Take your time. There's times you're jigging it on bottom and lifting it and just tapping it on bottom. Tap, 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 tap. Little twitch. There's no gobies doing that. Just tap, 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 tap. Sometimes you have it there for 3 minutes. If that fish is still there, it's because he's interested in eating it. It just means he's not positioning himself properly, and you don't know. Your bait might be in a crack of a rock. So once in a while, tap, 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 tap. I'll lift it up 2-3 inches and put it back down on bottom. I don't want my bait to bury itself on bottom. That's why I don't use heavier jig heads. 1/8 is perfect. Using heavier jig head with the composition of the bottom this year, it just disappears. So that fish, 129 people? Are you guys crazy? I got no guest here. You know, my boy Aaron's out fishing right now. I wish I had my phone with me. Would call him. He's out fishing. He was too busy to come here today. I didn't think I was going to have a podcast. I actually completely forgot about it. But I appreciate everybody tunes in. Ask your questions. I'm going to try to answer them. I was trying to do a half an hour. I'm sure I'm over that right now. I can't see the time. I tell you. Thanks, Raphael. I appreciate it, man. Appreciate it. Laura's asking, what do you think is better to go for perch in the morning and deep, shallow? It all depends on the mood phases, but I'm going to tell you perch are a morning and afternoon bite. Usually dies down the afternoon, so at midday. So try the shallows if you want. I'm pretty sick, man. No brewskis today. I need to, my stomach's not feeling the greatest. I did film a video last night for you guys and how to make that soup, and that soup's cooking right now. I should go look on it. It's pretty badass soup. Can you give me some tips for trout fishing? I mean, this one was pretty in-depth with the lake and what I look for and what those fish are doing as the season progresses. As the season progresses, you know, 120 feet of water is what I like to fish early season when they're deep, and they are this year. You guys can't see that. No, 120 feet of water is where I'll start. Deep water, 120. In February, I'm going to look at 80 feet of water on those flats. As February progressed, I'm going to look at 60 and less. I'm going to tell you one thing. When you're fishing shallow, if you got a kid with you, you got your girlfriend with you, you're on your phone, it happens in 2 seconds. If you're on your phone shallow, I think that's a big difference. If you're on your phone shallow and you don't pay attention because you're not marking anything, you will miss all your bite. If you don't move that bait when you start marking the fish, you are done. That fish is moving on. Unless she's really hungry, willing to eat a dead sticking bait, which is really rare on Simcoe, by the way. You know, most of your bait, most of your strike with lake trout is when your bait's moving away from them, creating that trigger instinct. You know, if you see a dog in the street and it's facing you and you stay there, he might come see you or not. You know, he might come and wag its tail. But if you run away, what's that dog doing? Although it's afraid, he's chasing you. That's his instinct. Same thing with a squirrel, right? If they see a squirrel, the squirrel's always running away from them. That's their instinct to chase it. I'm reading some of the questions here, guys. Mike B said, what tips you have on using the vibrato for Lakers and whitefish? A lot of whitefish will hit the vibrato on the way up and on bottom too. It's a bait that you can boat fish just like the drifter. Don't move it as quick. If you know if it's a whitefish, just raise it up like it would be a perch. If you're so sick, where's the kombucha? I mean, I didn't have time. It's pretty bad out there. But you're right. I've been drinking kombucha. I got soup cooking over there. So my main thing with shallow, you got to pay attention to your screen. Get comfortable. Don't be on your phone because you will miss so many bites. A lot of those fish shallow, you're not going to mark 50 a day. You're going to mark 10. But if they come shallow, they usually eat. You know, this weekend was a tough weekend. I didn't have a tough weekend like this. It felt like you were in middle of February, you know. Getting a couple bites was a good day. A lot of guys caught him perch fishing. A lot of guys caught him in Camden Felt. The guys that stuck shallow. You saw a lot of guys run and gun this weekend. You know, my plan this weekend coming up is I'm going to fish flats deep, 80, 90 feet, close to the mouth of Camden Felt, main lake areas, and I'm going to try to get some cruising trouts that are still packed up together. They're not big trouts. They're 8, 9 pounds, but they should be a lot of fun. Yeah, okay. Not from what I heard from his client, my friend. I heard they got scalped. Oh, Wicked Custom Rod Fishing just logged in. Me and him are working on something crazy for you guys. We're not going to say much, but we're working on some stuff. There's some prototypes coming this year. You guys know I was working on something like that. The Bloodworm plastics you're talking about to show, yeah, well, Blood Run Tackle has one. Berkeley makes one. Anything that's skinny and red will work. And, you know, that was the trick this weekend is they weren't touching the drifter as well. They weren't touching the vibrato. They're really super picky. You have to downside to a small microscopic bait that you would use for perch or crappie. Katen is asking me if I fished out. I fished everywhere. Everywhere. I fished Barry. I fished Sutton. I fished around Fox, Snake, Thora, Beaverton. I mean, I don't like fishing one area the same. I fish everywhere, my friend. Everywhere. Everywhere. Last year, I fished one spot that I fished before, and after that, I just fished different spot, and that's where I picked it up this year. Same thing. I'm mobile. I really go and try stuff. Trial and error. The lake's changing so quick. So quick. What's my moon source for moon faces? Fishreminder.com. If you fish so many places, what's your favorite? It's gonna sound cliche. My favorite place is where I catch fish that I've never caught there before. That's just satisfying. You know, that's the thing with going with a guide or going on a guided trip or going with somebody and getting there and the fish is already there for you. It's rewarding, it's fun. I get that, but when you're able to catch a lot of fish, the hardship is where when you get home, you can favor the most and be like, it was a tough day today, but I caught him on something new. It was fun. That's what I cherish. That's what I really enjoy when I go out there, is those hard days where I went crappie fishing this year. I didn't find nothing for 6 hours, and the last hole I found the mother lode. And I cherish that. This is my favorite video ever. It was really fun for me to get out there, not catch anything. I literally on the last hole is where I found them. I only stayed on them for an hour compared to 6 hours before that. That's what I really enjoy. That's my favorite spots are the new spots. It's not the old spots. I don't fish memories. It's changing every year. What the lake was 2 years ago is completely different right now. What the lake was this weekend will be completely different next weekend. I'm reading some of the questions, guys. What size leader are you running when you're fishing deep? I'm running the same size leader I'm fishing when I'm fishing shallow. I'm running as long as my knot has a couple turn in my reel when the fish is at the hole, the bait is at the hole. That's usually around 10 to 15 feet. I don't like having pressure on the knot when the fish is at the hole. I like having one line. It's just something in my head. What was the deal with that pressure crack? So a lot of you guys don't know. So Friday I had a really busy day at work. I worked out of town. I came back. I had a lot of stuff to do, personal stuff, and I was guiding the next day. I had to go replace that engine for my buddy that blew up his engine. I had so much to do at night, and I wanted to go to bed early. And it's faster for me to take my snowmobile on the lake to the gas station than putting the snowmobile in the trailer to the gas station. So what I did is I ripped around the lake in shallow bays where usually is no pressure crack. The key word here, guys, is usually. And it was about 4 feet of water running the shoreline. And I hit the pressure crack the right way. Usually pressure cracks are like this, but it's always one over the other. And I hit it coming like this. It was a blizzard out there. It was snowing. Now pressure crack wasn't visible anymore. It's just snow. And by the time I hit the pressure crack doing a $130, having fun on the sled, trying to maximize time so I can go get my buddy's sled, I went flying. And when I say I went flying, I went flying. I went past the snowmobile, rolled about 8-10 times. Luckily, I didn't break anything. I had my helmet on. I got a scar on my forehead right now, a scar on my chest. I'm bruised up, but I'm okay. By the time I stopped rolling, the sled ran me over. Luckily, I landed in a snowdrift. That helped a lot, but I don't know why I picked up my phone and put it on Instagram or Facebook, but yeah, it just, I don't know. It shook more than anything. And I got back on my sled. I went and put gas. And the next day I woke up, I could barely move, and it's getting worse. Yesterday was worse. And today's, it's really bad. Like, I'm sore. I feel like I went to the gym for 24 hours straight. My muscles are sore. My joints are a little bit sore, but nothing broken. Oh, yeah, the sled ran me over. Yeah. Not fast. I was in snow, so it's not like it collided with me. It literally ran me over. Well, Scott cutting, Scott, that's where I hit that pressure crack, my friend. In between shore and grape. Sled's perfect, man. Sled is. I didn't hit a pressure crack like this. I hit a pressure crack that was like this. So I went flying, and the sled slanted. It's a cross country sled, so it's got that super robust suspension that's smooth and air ride. So when it ran me over, it was smooth. No, it wasn't. But anyway, sled is in. We used it all weekend, no problem, no problem. Nope, my pal is in application right now. I'm in the process to get that. Thanks, Captain. Said I do use 10-pound braid, 10-pound fluoro. That's all I use. There's no point going heavier. There's no point going lighter. That's all I use. Yeah, so that was an experience. And a lot of people start talking about it. Like, people come to me, can I come see you in the hospital? I heard you got airlifted. That's the thing with the fishing industry. People like start rumors off nothing. I was home. I gave details as to what happened. I went guiding the next day, no problem. I didn't die. I didn't get airlifted. My sled is in one piece. A lot of people wish me bad stuff, but we roll with the punches. It's going to take a lot more than the pressure crack to kill me. Now, looks like good. Caught a bunch of fish, so we're good. We're good. It's mostly this arm that's sore. I punched myself in the face about 4 times as I roll over, so my nose was bleeding like crazy because my visor flipped up. Yeah, I do not use tip-ups, my friend. Not only Simcoe. 2 rods. Let her out, Laura. Let her out your fishing joke. So if you got more questions, send them my way. Please, I'm going to answer as much as I can here until next weekend. We hope to have Aaron back. Hopefully he's catching fish. Check him out, Aaron_Vela97. He should post a story or something. Oh, hey, let's call him. My phone's right here. Let's call Aaron. Let's call Aaron. See if he answers. He's probably watching the podcast.
The customer you are calling is unavailable at the...
His phone died. Okay. He's with Josh. We're going to call Josh. Where should a noob start on Simcoe? Camp and felt, whatever's closest to shore. Snow's pretty good. I like snow. They're not answering.
You have reached Josh Dixon. Please leave your message after the tone.
Oh, he's calling me back. Hold on. Hey, bud.
Hey.
You're live on the podcast, by the way.
Uh-huh.
Are you catching anything?
No, we had to leave.
Why?
I had stuff to do.
It's 8:30. Why? It got cold? You guys can catch anything?
It got pretty cold out there, yeah, but it was one of my buddy's dad wasn't feeling the best, so I had to take him to the doctors. So. Oh,
I see. So Aaron's on his way back right now?
Yeah, but he is broken down right now.
Where? What? Huh?
His oil light came on saying he had no oil, but he's got oil, but he's got no oil pressure. So I'm driving out to see him right now.
Oh, well, let him know if I need to pick him up. I'll go pick him up.
Well, Liz is there, so there's a car there, but
so
I'm gonna go see him right
now. Hey,
hold
on a second. How's your Volvo doing, Aaron? That's what happens when you drive a Volvo. Okay, let me get on him. I'll go pick him up. Where you guys in Muskoka?
Yeah.
Is he still by the lake?
He's still on Brackenrick Road, yeah.
All right, I'm gonna have to go pick him up. All
right.
I
can pick him up, so I don't know. We'll see.
All right, you let me know.
All right.
See ya.
Bye.
Well, Volvo's up. Aaron loves his Volvo, and I trip him all the time. Never follow a Volvo; it's gonna kill you. I'm reading some of the questions. When is my podcast schedule? It's really hard with my schedule. We try to have them either Sunday at 7:30 or Monday at 7:30. I wasn't feeling the greatest this weekend. Nobody could be with me Sunday or tonight, so I just got home. I forgot about it, popped that one up, and that's what we did. I'm looking for clam drill plate for the auger. The only place that has a Canadian Tire for 140. It's 99 everywhere else, but not in stock. Wait till it restocks. Here's the problem: is people that have stores purchase once the season's almost over. By the time they restock, they're gonna have to hold it in inventory until next fall, so they don't reorder. Oh, Brian Johnson's just logged in. I hope Aaron's good, man. He didn't answer my phone call. I'm going to send him a quick text. I might have to go pick him up. I don't know why he's not answering. We're going to call him again. I really, the main reason, yeah, he's going to answer now.
Hello?
Hey, buddy. It's Sebastian.
What's up?
You're live on the podcast, by the way.
Am I?
Yeah.
What's up?
Can you let us know how your Volvo, how our Volvos, are they reliable?
The Volvo is fucking mint, dude. Don't worry about it.
Hey, do you need me to come pick you up?
Right now?
Yeah.
I mean, we're figuring it out. I mean, I'm kind of fucking stuck right now, but I'm gonna list this car so we can always drive back to Josh and worry about it in the morning.
Oh, you got two cars up there.
Yeah, it's not like you're gonna tow me.
Oh, I'm not towing you. No.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Oh, you guys are good then.
No, we're fine. Yeah, we're all good.
Did you guys catch anything?
No, we bounced off the lake because Josh needed to drive someone to hockey. We weren't catching anything anyways. Josh lost one, so.
All right. Well, everybody says hi to you.
All right. Hello.
Now go fix that Volvo, boy.
All right, dude. Thank you very much. Thanks for checking up on me, man.
Hey, no problem, man.
Appreciate it. Yeah.
See ya. Yeah, I like that clam drill plate on my K drill. The reason I've been using it is because I got 3 Milwaukees now. So if I bust one, I'm gonna switch it. I feel it's really harder on the drill, to be honest with you guys, the clam drill plate. But that's what I've been using. It's also heavier. You're adding like 4 or 5 pounds compared to just a Milwaukee. But it does add about 4 or 5 inches more because you got a K drill extension on there. Should have bought a Tacoma. Hell yeah. I've been telling him because he just bought a boat. He's thinking of towing a boat with that little wagon of a Volvo. I mean, our Lakers morning, mid-afternoon, they've been midday for me, mostly, and the whitefish is all morning, afternoon so far, but that's going to change. That's going to change. Kevin Gratton was asking, worth doing an overnight for perch and whiteys on Simcoe? My opinion, no. But it's an experience. That's my opinion. Doesn't mean it's great, that I'm right. Again, everything I wrote up on here doesn't mean I'm right about it. These are my own thoughts. That's how I process things. Pickering depends where you're fishing. If you're fishing Kempenfeld, like Johnson's Beach and 60 feet of water, you're marking a lot more bass than whitefish, my friend. If I ever target pike on Lake Simcoe, I do in the spring on opener. I go for them. It's really fun. I got a couple of videos with them. It's fun. Because I'm sitting in his chair. Am I as slim as him? An experience is better than catching. I mean, yeah. Yeah, depends what you're catching. Herpes and AIDS will stay with you. You don't want to be catching that. That's a bad experience, my friend. Sorry, I have to pitch that in. My biggest spike on Simcoe is probably like 37-inch, something like that. Very skinny. Do you have a stinger or your swim bait? Yes. If you're not fishing with a stinger on your swim bait, get out of here. You're going to lose that fish. You want that fish to be hooked on the stinger because it doesn't wreck your swim bait and they get pinned better. A lot of those lake trouts, they have dog jaws or jaws like us. They have meat on the outside, but they got to put it in their mouth, so it's really hard to pierce them right through. So you want to skin them. Do you ever use live bait? I do when I go outside of Simcoe, outside my comfort zone. I don't on Simcoe. The white jig from Freedom Tackle. That's a good deep bait. You want to see it? It's right here. Where do you get it? It's really hard to get it because the stores around here don't carry it or don't know about it. So you can ask the Freedom Tackle guys where to get it, or you can ask your taco store to get it. You know, Seabass says we should get Hydra jig head. I mean, that works for me. Doesn't mean it's going to work for you, right? That's what I like using. That's what I use as my attractor. And the fish will come up and see it. I smash them with the drifter. Now, I wouldn't be able to catch them with the drifter because they're not going to be attracted by the drifter as much as they would with this. So, you know. I tie the treble hook. The treble hook, I tie it from the eye of the hook to the bottom of the bait because I want the top hook. So watch this. Woo! We're going to draw again. I think I'm gonna. Is it better if I do it in red? Not really. What about blue? Not really. What about black? Okay, you guys see black better. So, Freedom Tackle head. Get a little high here. There you go. That's your Freedom Tackle head. And you get your Spartus to rig the hook, and then you get your hook like this. Woo! Hey, that's a good drawing. Thumbs up for that one. The eye of the hook is right here. I'm going to tie braid 30 pounds, red. That's what I like. Doesn't mean it has to be 30 pounds. 30-pound braid, and then you get your swim bait obviously over it. And I can go as far as I want right now. But the tail would be around here. So I'm going to get braid all the way down here. And I tie my treble hook here. What's up? What's up? That's what I do. Can't get more in depth than what you're getting right here, guys. I appreciate everybody that leaves a thumbs up. There's only 24 people watching. We got 34 thumbs up. Something's wrong with that. I know a lot of haters are watching. I know that. But, you know, it should be, the ratio should be better, I would think. Do you ever fish Lakers on G-bait through the ice? That might be happening this weekend, actually. You know, a lot of lake trout to be caught over there. They have a different season. Right now, it's put and take only, and it opens February 15th, I believe. Not put and take. It actually opens February 15th. Sorry about that. I shouldn't have said that. Matthew, I just said it. What happened with the pressure crack? You might have to rewind. As to what happened. Yeah, it is free, Outdoorsy Gal. Thank you very much. That like button is free. You're helping me out. And that's how I rig my swim bait. And unfortunately, the reason why I used to set the Freedom Tackle. And I got a few messages last couple weeks. Guys, you're just a bait seller. Set the hook doesn't give me anything. Freedom Tackle doesn't give me anything. Humminbird doesn't give me anything. I say what I want. That's what I use. You don't like it? You think I sell stuff? I mean, trust me. I make money at work. I don't need to be selling baits on the side. These companies don't pay me anything. Right? This is what I use. You guys are asking me, I tell you. I don't want to hear the little chirpers that come in my Instagram and say, you're just a bait seller. Listen, buddy. People are so jealous in the fishing industry. It's crazy. It's crazy. Did you guys see the incident that happened? not this week, the week before the weekend, with a guide out there that went and threatened them in their hut and everything. If you want to check it out, check my Instagram. I commented on his post. It's crazy. He went in their hut, said, "You're not from around here. You're not allowed to fish around here." It was pretty bad. I'm not going to say the guy, but that's very unethical. Very unethical. Not cool to do. That you guide, that you live on the lake, you don't own the lake. Just be respectful. Straight shank hook all the way, my dude. Straight shank hook. I used to do it with a wide gap hook, which I'd really... Okay, here's another thing. Eric, my dude, good question. Freedom tackle head, it doesn't not necessarily look like that. But then you know, smiley face. Your line's tied up here. Now, a wide gap hook would look like this. And what I really like about the wide gap hook is I would have my swim bait like this. The hook would be exposed, but not as much. But I would use the wide gap here is I would put a treble hook through here with a piece of plastic retaining the hook in case it was going to go through. And I would put the hook here. So wide gap hook or straight shank. I feel straight shank is a bit better. They're both great, but I like this. This saves me rigging up a braid going from there to there. But if you're rigging braid on the straight shank hook, going there to there, it's going to save your swim bait. Now, if I catch a trout here, she's still attached. That swim bait's very close to that treble hook. It's going to rip that swim bait. Trying to save you a little money here, guys. That's a good question. More questions like that, I'll answer them on the board. That's why I got the board for you guys. I didn't get the board for myself. I can draw on paper and amuse myself for hours. Man, this is pretty informative. I was going to do it for half an hour, but you guys are keeping me entertained. Thanks, Jason, man. Appreciate it. Matthew's asking, I got a 24-inch Laker the other day. What would you estimate the weight be around? It really depends. You can measure every fish by length and girth, and it's going to give you an average. But some of the fish have bigger tail, fatter tail, which is not taken into consideration, and fatter heads. A 34-inch lake trout, just go see out there. It's going to give you a rough estimate. It'll be around there within 5 pounds. Hunt and Fish Ontario's asking, you ever use the Savage Gear Goby tube? Never. I'm sure it works. If I was to try every bait out there, I wouldn't have enough time to go fish. I can only fish weekend like you guys. Pest Control's asking, what does a whitefish look like on the fish finder, and what does a lake trout look like? Well, a lake trout has more girth. It's going to look thicker, and it's going to move a much faster. Bottom, right? Bottom of the lake, right? The bottom of the lake is not straight. A whitefish, when it rises up, will come back down right away. If it doesn't like the bait it's seeing. A lake trout will most of the time not come from the bottom, and most of the time will come off bottom, will come and look at your bait, and will either disappear like this or shoot up real quick. So these I call domers. Doesn't mean I'm right, but most of the time, that's how a lake trout will show up. Whitefish, if you're fishing deep, there'll be a bunch of marks, and they never really pass 20 feet off bottom. A lake trout, usually it's 1 or 2 marks, and they'll rise your bait way up. Now, most of the time, I've caught whitefish reeling a tube as fast as I could, and they choked it in 120 feet of water, but most of the time. I'm just getting high with that Windex over here, just spraying it around. Hey, hold on, guys. I'm going to stop that suit before I burn my house down. I'll be right back. I'm going to catch a drink, too. I'm back. I should have that little bathroom music going in the background. Boom, boom, boom. What does a burbot look on the graph? That's very easy to tell you. Watch this. A burbot on the graph, and that's spot on. When a burbot comes up, it'll be a super wide streak that goes like this, just like its tail. And there'll be a separation. So this will be all red, and at the bottom will be a second mark that looks like a second fish that's blue. That's just, that fish is so wide and that tail is so wide, it literally looks like a snake when it swims. Yes, it does. Yes, it does. So that's how a burbot looks. Super wide streak. Super wide streak. It's a good bulb. I mean, Innisfil, Oro. There's lake trouts everywhere. But if you want to go to lake trout grounds, I mean, Oro, Big Bay Point, Kempenfeld, Innisfil, those are the lake trout areas. If you're going to go on the east side, you have to walk far to get to lake trout grounds. Yeah, I did burn the soup. I messed up on that one, guys. Huh. How shallow would you fish for a lake trout? I've caught them in 19 feet of water. What? Now you're gonna have to re-ask that pest control. I'm not sure I understand your question. The vibrato, I shake in their face, moving up slowly. Slowly or shaking on bottom. I don't bounce it up and down. That's mostly how I fish it. I fish it the same way I would fish a drifter. Now, you're on gull. Those are really small lake trout that are afraid to come to your bait. So the minute they come close, they're like, ooh, I'm too scared. I go back down. Small fish. I don't think so. Scents. I've been testing a scent, trialing a scent. I've tried it a lot for bass, and I'm trying to convert it to lake trout. So far, I'll be honest, it's I'm not seeing a big difference. So it's not something I'm gonna push until I see a big difference. Yeah, I do sometimes use scent, but I don't see the benefit. The only thing I see with scent is they'll hold the bait longer in their mouth. That's it. They don't find it. They don't find it because of the scent. They'll just hold it down their mouth better. Jason, for Jet, I have like 1 or 2 days left open. I'm booked up solid. Solid. If I was fishing unusual in Lake Simcoe, where should I try first and why? Is there any, if there isn't any fish on the first spot, where else would you go? Well, shoals on Lake Simcoe are really big. So it would take you a day to fish that shoal. You got both ends of the shoal and then both sides. So watch this. Let's say over reef out of 7. That looks about like this. You got a saddle here, close to shore. You got about, I think it's like 20 feet on top or so, or 50. And on this side is 60 feet. And on each end is 40. And on this side is like 35. You guys can see this? I mean, I would start knowing the current is coming this way. I would start on top of the shoal here. And if I'm not getting anything, I'm going to go at the bottom where it's 40. And if I'm not getting anything, I'm going to move to 60. And if I'm not getting anything, well, they might be on the 45, on the 35, on the saddle on the other side. And if I'm not getting anything, I'll move on top of the shoal. And if I'm not getting anything, I'm going to go at the bottom. So, I mean, there's no point going to the next shoal. You know, you get what I'm saying? That shoal is massive. Might look small on your Navionics app. That shoal's massive. By the way, there's a few wrecks around Oro. If you got an underwater camera, they are cool to see. You know what I found this year fishing for bass? I found like a 1925, or I don't know. You know, like the Al Capone, the round cars, like the gangster cars. They were, you know, with the big fenders. I found one in like 40 feet of water. You guys want me to give you a trick about snow coverage? Watch this. Oh, it's just so good. I'm going to give you my biggest trick when I'm fishing deep or shallow. Now, I've said it. It's not a big trick. But my biggest trick when I'm fishing and there's snow coverage like right now. Aerial view. This is my hut. We're going to call it the Sea House. This is my hut. My bench seat is this way. I'm fishing this way. These are my fishing rods. Don't get any IDs. And these are my holes. Oh my God. What did I do? There's another hole here for the fish finder. Anyway, so my holes are here. You're not getting light penetration like you should with snow. So what I like to do is I walk about, depending how deep I am, the shallower I am, the closer I get to the hut. But let's say I'm in 60 feet. I walk about 10 meters this way or 30 feet. And I clear the ice of snow. First thing I do, I clear the ice of snow as much as I can. If it's windy, it's a losing battle, so I don't do it. But what I'll do is I'll drill a hole or two. And what do you think those holes are going to do? Light penetration. So now, other dimension, instead of seeing it like this, we're going to, it's just quicker than erasing it. Okay, forget this, what's at the bottom. So this is the bottom of the lake here. You see my holes here and my holes here. And my lines are down here. One on bottom, because I'm fishing bottom for whitefish, and one middle of water column, my vibratos here. Or my Hydra shad from Freedom Tackle, or whatever. And I got my two holes down here with the snow patch covered. What do you think this does here? Allows the light to come through to hit my bait so they can see reflection further. Ooh, big trick. Big trick. And that works. Trust me. Trust me. The minute there's snow, I do it. Doesn't matter if I'm deep or shallow. And if I'm deep, I go further because I want that angle to go further. Now, it just feels like it attracts the fish further. I got more light penetration. Pretty cool. You guys understand? It's pretty easy. Pretty easy. Man, I feel like I'm a teacher in high school right now. Except the teacher in high school gets paid a lot more than me just giving tricks away like this. I'm not getting anything out of this other than helping you guys. So I hope you guys appreciate this. You know, these are just my tricks. Doesn't mean it's right. Doesn't mean it's right. If you want to check out my Instagram, you're new to YouTube, my YouTube channel. It's the same thing as my YouTube channel. It's Seabass Outdoors. 140 viewers. That's crazy. What are you guys doing? You're not sleeping yet? Yo, LB just logged in. Thanks, LB, man. That was a good video. Good. LB just released a video. We went walleye fishing. Well, we went crappie fishing, turned into walleye fishing. I'm reading some of the comments. If you have asked a question and I didn't answer it, ask it again, please. Getting ready to shovel snow. It doesn't really matter where you placed your holes, if they're in front or behind you on the side, as long as you get light penetration. Matt has a good question. Matthew Mass Fishing has a really good question. What is my favorite swim bait for lake trout? Well, back in the days, I got a couple swim baits from a company in California. They are they're ocean swim baits or offshore swim baits, and I bought a bunch, and I call them the Laker Taker and the White Ghost and all that stuff. I still have them. Those are my favorite by far. I don't have many left, but those were good because they were flat like a hair. They swim straight. Not that the other ones are not swimming straight. They swim straight, and the tail is not moving like this. It's really a tight wobble, like a herring would. That's the kind of swim bait I like. Flat, not too much crazy action. I don't see a bait fish swimming like that. Come on, man. Just like tight action. You don't need crazy action. If they're biting swim bait, they're really close to their instinct in heating herring and rainbow smelt. And those bait fish are very natural. You know, I'm not going to use a big freaking tail kicking and making vibration. I want to keep it as natural as possible. They are side feeders, unless you're fishing, you know, January 1st, the first 2 weeks where they'll hit anything. They haven't seen lures in months. They're hungry after the spawn. Well, this time of the year, I'm going to use a very looking natural swim bait. Big, 5-6 inches. Big fluke for lake trout works, especially in this. You know, it gives a lot of body to that hydro shad from Freedom Tackle. I've caught a lot of lake trout doing that. Do you ever use chum for? No, I don't. I don't think it's legal either. I mean, you really think a lake trout, which is a side feeder and feels vibration, will be attracted to a smell of something? No. No, I do not believe it. $66 likes. Sick, boys. We got the most viewers ever. I mean, just me talking here. I really wish I had somebody else. It's pretty informative. Brian Nichols has a really, really good question. How close do you let the Lakers get to your suspended bait before you're reeling up? Really good question. Watch this. You got a swim bait or your suspended swim bait? You're usually deep, right down here. That's the bottom. Your bait's halfway through the water column. That's where I like to dead stick it. If I'm fishing 80 feet, I'll have one bait in 40 feet. Suspend it. If I'm fishing 30 feet, I'll have one bait suspend at 15. The shallower you are, the faster things happen. Trust me. You're not paying attention when you're shallow, you're going to miss all your bites. Guaranteed. Those fish move on because they're there to eat. And they are hitting stuff that moves. The fish rise up. The minute I see the fish come in, rising up, I'm moving my bait the same speed that fish is coming. The minute the fish starts ramping up, I'm ramping up. I'm always to try to go a bit faster than she goes. And I'm playing that game as soon as she comes. The important part is that your bait, you're not jerking it. If you're jerking it, you lose that fish's attention. I guarantee you that deep. So, fish comes up, and I usually rise my bait. So the fish started to come up here. I usually rise my bait, and we meet up. Sorry. We meet up usually really high. And if that fish has decided to come unglued and past the middle of the water column, it's over. She wants your thing. She's made that effort to eat. She's eating. She is eating 100%. Your drawings must be better than your guest. I'm not sure I get that, my dude. What bait do you run for G-bait for trout? A lot of little spoons. Anything flashy. Those fish are not picky at all, man. Not picky at all. They will hit anything over there. Swim baits, tubes, flukes, bear hooks. I mean, tootless critters. You name it. They'll hit it all. Thanks, Mike. Appreciate. So, thanks, Brian, man. Thanks. All right, keep coming with the questions. Let's roll with the punches. Hit that like button. I really enjoy that. For those who haven't seen the jig heads, you're going to have to rewind because the jig heads are right here. How deep am I fishing whitefish right now? I've caught them in 45, and I've caught them in 16 feet of water. The whitefish are doing really well considering the pressure they're getting. I don't think they're getting as much pressure as they do in the spring as they used to, but they're getting a lot of pressure in the winter, and a lot of people are keeping the limits within the limits. That's fine, but the whitefish are literally everywhere in Lake Simcoe right now. Everywhere. When I mean everywhere, north, south, east, west, Kempenfeld, middle, lake, humps, everywhere. They're everywhere. Everywhere. Listen, you guys shouldn't have any issues catching whitefish. It's like catching perch. Literally. Just put a drifter on, leave it in their face, leave it on bottom. They'll eat it. Trust me. Trust me. Okay? Those little sea cows, it doesn't. You don't need to be a magician to catch them. Do you find winds play a big factor on Lake Simcoe in the open water or not? Not at all on when it's frozen. I don't believe that. No, they don't. I mean, the only time they play a factor is, are you going out when it's 50K wind gust to beat on your hut? No. That's the only factor they play. They don't. It doesn't really matter. No, I'm not trying to make you feel bad, my dude. I mean, you just need to catch one. And once you understand the catching one, it's all downhill from there. It's all downhill. Recently bought an Aquaview. Do you think it will spook the Lakers? If it's a really aggressive day, they won't. It might attract them. But in most cases, they'll attract them and they won't care for your lure. They'll be spooked out. They'll be like, okay, see ya. You know, they won't be coming to your hole for the right reason. And if you do attract them with your lure, they'll go to your lure and they'll be like, oh, here's a camera. What's that? See ya. So trust me, I see it all the time with my camera. All the time. And I don't use an underwater camera. I use a GoPro on bottom and press power, and they see it. That's the first thing they see after seeing my bait. So it's really hard. Really, really, really hard. Scott, here's the thing. It's easy to put numbers out there when you got a group of 10 guys and you've been baiting holes for the past 2 months and those whitefish just keep coming back and forth, back and forth. It's really hard to believe that when you got 20 guys out there, you know, and saying you caught 60 fish, you know. First of all, if you're out there and you got a clicker in your hand, you're not fishing. Who keeps track after 5 fish? I mean, you just say I had a double-digit days. The guys that go on there and say, oh, I got an average of 37 fish last year, those are the guys that are full of shit. Those are the guys that get stranded out there when they shouldn't. Hint, hint. I'm making a exclamation point here. Those are the guys, you know, I have 21 years experience on the lake. I'm born in, you know, 2000. It doesn't even add up there. How are you going to tell me you're catching 37 fish on average? I've had 37 fish days by myself. You're not going to have 37 fish days on average. You're just lying. And people buy into that, you deserve to lose money, man. I'm sorry. It's just the way it is. That's what gets me rattled up is what you see online is not what you see. It's embellished so they can take your money. It's just how it is. It's a selling point. Plain and simple. We're going out on Simcoe next week. Podcast after. Please, my friend. Please. Geez, I wonder what you're talking about. Hey, man, I mean, we've all saw the flyers. You wish the guy to do well. You can't have a flyer like that, man. That's disrespectful to guys like you. It's very disrespectful. I'm talking about Fattle what? Who are those guys? When will you disclose the solo shoulder that dislike the podcast? I mean, nah. It's fine. Here's the thing with the like button, guys, and the algorithm of YouTube is whether you leave a thumbs up or a thumbs down. As long as you left something, it doesn't matter. It's all about the clicks. It's not, you don't make money on the clicks up or down. It just rates your video higher than other videos. So if you click like or down, there's 72 likes right now and 1 down. It's counted as 73 clicks on that video that interacted with that video. So it doesn't matter that you hit the thumbs down. The ratio's upside down. It doesn't matter at all. Can I get a hold of you through Instagram, Seabass Outdoors? You send me a message. I usually reply to everybody. If you're asking me where I'm fishing, you're going to go pound salt, or I'm going to lie to you and you're not going to like it. Even my friends, you know, that I'm friends with, if you're asking me where I'm fishing with, I'm not going to give you a GPS location. And as much as I love you guys, there's 79 likes. There's 143 people watching. That means if I give you where I went last weekend and let's say caught that big lake trout, everybody's going to be there. Just because, you know, people don't see the struggle. All they see in my videos is fish catching. You don't see the struggle. You don't see the 8-hour days where I only mark 4 fish, caught them all. But you don't see where, you know, people think that's the thing with the social media. You're only seeing the good. You're not seeing the bad. Doc. Yes, my friend. Yes, my friend. Thanks, everybody who leaves a like. I really appreciate it. No, like again, he's not. It's just what he makes you want to, what he wants to make you feel like. Some of them are old pictures. You should make an Indian Canal series on catching Lake Simcoe. You can watch all my videos. There's a bunch of how I target them, what I do. You know, it's not you. I show you what I use. You guys want to know? I show you what I use. These companies don't pay me. I'm not Bob Zumi. I'm not Gord Pizer trying to stuff down your throat. I'm showing you what I use. That's what I use. You asked me. That's what I use. You see in the videos. All right. The fact of fishing when number of fish caught, that's pretty cool. I mean, yeah, you're right. You're right. It's a creative outlet. Facts of Fishing has a good show. The problem is, who watches TV anymore? 143 people of you guys are watching this right now instead of watching. That's huge. YouTube is the avenue. People don't watch TV shows anymore. You ask the new generation, like not my generation, but the generation under, like my little cousins that are 15 years old. They don't know Baba Zumi. They don't. They don't know Facts of Fishing. It's all through the internet. I was at a buddy's the other day, and this kid grabbed my phone, 6 years old. He says, "What's the password?" I'm like, "How do you even know what a password is at 6 years old?" Grabbed my phone. I gave him the password, found the YouTube app on his own, typed in what he was looking for, And he's like, boom, he's watching cartoons on YouTube. What the hell? You know, that's the future of things. Future of things. I had a company today. We're trying to negotiate a deal, and they're like, oh, well, we're working with some TV personality. And it's like, okay, where are they? WFN doesn't exist anymore. Are they like, it's all about who's going to watch the show and the marketing audience that they have. My marketing audience, you guys, are between 25 and 55 years old, and 99.9% are guys. I think the 0.01 is outdoorsy gal and lady bass. That's it, straight up. Facts of Fishing is a great show. Nicole running chirping on Dave Mercer. Dave Mercer's a good guy, man. See, Ninja is 14. All he does is watching YouTube. Yeah, he can sight fish whiteys all the time. He can sight fish whiteys, and when it's clear in no snow, 45 feet, you see them clear as day. And I've fished whiteys in 6 feet of water, but I spooked them. You know, 10 feet or less. Like what happened? Remember what I tell you, when they appear on your cone, you start looking down. That whitefish already seen your bait a long time ago. A long time ago. Because if you're fishing in 10 feet, your cone radius, if you're using 83 hertz, most likely you're not, is 10 feet. And 10 feet is, you know, it's not much. Once it sees in there, it sees your bait already, it's already thinking about moving. So by the time you get active and trying to move your bait, it's already moved on. Any plans on coming back to the fishing forums? No plans, no whatsoever. Because it's not the outlet I want to promote to. The fishing forums, you get the old guys just grunting and being jealous, and you know, that's the problem. Is when I go on forums and I say something to someone, I'm willing to tell them in their face. Everything you see me type on Facebook, on Instagram, I'm gonna tell them in their face. And I don't go and try to point the guy down and tell him he's an asshole or anything. I conduct myself on social media the same way I would conduct myself in person. A lot of these guys, 99.9% of these people talking stuff, would never say anything in my face. I met one on shore on one of the first day on Simcoe this year. He's all trash talk to me. I was in my trailer. I came out. He didn't know I was in the trailer. He didn't even know it was me. He came out. He saw me. You're Seabass. I looked at him. I recognized who he was. By the time I looked at him, he turned around. He was running to his car. Didn't say nothing. Meanwhile, the year before, he was just trash talking me. I mean, here's the thing. You know, you can't be saying stuff you're not willing to say in person to the person in social media. That's what we're dealing with right now. Everybody's got big huevos on social media, hiding behind a computer, but they would never tell anybody in person. It's easy to say stuff on social media. It's very, very, very easy. You know, it's okay to have big balls on the couch behind a computer. It's more impressive to see them in person, though. You're right, Connor Price. You guys can't see that comment, but yeah, you're right. I can see that. How often do you use scent? I use scent when it's tough. You know, it's just a sense of security. Sense of security. For me, the scent, they'll hold on to the bait better. Any scent works. I mean, I can tell you set the hook, liquid mayhem, blah, 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 blah. I just get scent. I like scent. For me, I like scent that doesn't make a mess. So right now I'm using a scent in a jar. I put the bait in the jar. That's it. I don't need to touch the scent. It doesn't go over my jacket. I want scent that doesn't leave a mess. And I'm not going to use a push or a spray can in the hut. Yeah, when you're getting smelly jelly. To be fair, you're not a small dude. I can't handle myself. That's the problem. I see the thing is I'm nice, but I like a confrontation in front of a person because you know, that's just I'm French Canadian, man. I have to. That's how we are. Do you find early morning is better for Lakers and Whiteys, or do you think sonar minor major times are better predictor when fishing are more active? Exactly. It's not about okay. Let's go back to the board now. We got some anger out. How am I going to write this? All right. And this is, say, 7 a.m. And this is 6 p.m. The sun's here. Whee! And this is a year day. This one being noon. That's what you think about when you go fishing. You got 7 a.m. sunrise, 6 p.m. sundown. That's when you're fishing. This also, 95% of the case, and my believing, is when they're feeding. But we're missing the part that's not here. What's going on at night? Those fish are just like me and you. I'm going to eat a cheeseburger at 6 p.m. I'm going to go to bed with a belly full. When I wake up in the morning, first thing I want to do is drink water and eat. So, although there might be a moon phase here, minor, that fish, although there's no moon phase or not, has to eat. It relaxed all night. They digest so much quicker than us. So that's why morning are very important. And you know why evenings are important? Because that fish knows he's not going to eat for another 12 hours. So he's like, I got to eat around here, whether there's a moon phase or not. That's why mornings are good and evenings are good. Ice fishing. In the summer, evenings are colder. The sun's not beating on them. They're not using as much energy. And same thing. That fish didn't feed all night. Now, fish do feed at night. But just like me, sometimes I wake up at 3 a.m. and I'm like, I want some cookies and milk. And if I got cookies and milk, I'm crushing them. But I don't wake up every night for that. Well, maybe, but, you know. So, and then you get your moon phases. So that window is always good, no matter how you have a tough day ahead of you or not. Knowing if you fished the day before, it was really tough. The next day, more likely going to be the same, a bit better or worse. And so those windows are always good. So when you get a great day is when you get no minor or major moon phase in the morning and the evening. And let's say you get a minor here and a major here. That means all these windows are feeding windows. That means it's going to be a good day. Now, if you have your morning and there's a feeding window in it, and then you get your noon, and then you get your evening with another feeding window in it, it's going to be a long day. Very easy. I like this whiteboard. It makes me sound smart. So you get what I'm saying here? It's all about where those moon phases are in during the day. The way I see fishing, and I suck at mathematics, but the way I see fishing, it's all about optimizing your chances of catching fish. Percentage. And this is mathematics right now. You're just looking at it. Where are those windows? Where is that fish more likely going to feed? Super. This right here should get 2 thumbs up. I just stop with the thumbs up, eh? Let's stop talking about that. All right, let's see if we've got some more questions. If I didn't answer your questions, ask it again, please. Yeah, the French are a bit out there. Yes, we are. Thanks a bunch for giving this info. Thank you, man. Thank you. I'm reading all the comments. They're coming through. Hey, Paul, actually, it doesn't matter. It's not about being called. It's really hard. I used to keep a calendar, a notepad with every outing that I had when I caught whitefish and everything, or lake trout. It doesn't. Sunnies are better. I really like sunny days because if I go shallow, it creates an action of bugs and stuff like that, and all the flora down there. They're getting sun, they're getting oxygen, they're activated. But if you're fishing deep, it doesn't really matter. I have an amazing cloudy day shallow. Amazing. When you think about it, sunny, the sun should go clear deeper, so those fish should be there, but they come shallow. And when it's cloudy, they come shallower because there's not enough light penetration down shallow, deeper. So it's really, no, I don't have a preference. I'll go fish. The only thing that stops me is the wind, right? I don't want to be blowing with my head up there. If a laker lose interest on a chase, do you drop your bait, pass the fish, and then reel up? If I'm deep, yes, but I let the fish dictate. If that's why I really like a tube. If she loses interest, I just open the bail until it's on bottom, and I watch. I watch her on the graph, and I watch my bail, because when you get your bait's up here, fish comes up, you bring your bait, and the fish loses interest and comes going down. I open my bail, and this comes down. Now, most of the time, that fish will follow your bait at the same time. But how do you know if she got your tube in her mouth, right? You know how you know? You watch your bail, and you watch on the graph. And when your bail stops moving, that means she's got a tube in her mouth. If you see the graph, she stopped moving. I mean, the tube should keep going down if she doesn't have it in her mouth. That's when you close your bail and you set the hook. Instant. Instant. Yeah, the wind's for you. Got to be careful, man. Doesn't matter how heavy the ice is, how thick the ice is, the wind is very dangerous. Although the lake's locked up, it don't mean nothing. Just means more ice, easier mass to push around. Mark, the tech guy, send me a message on Instagram. I'll get back to you, but I'm pretty booked up. My wife wants, I got a cooking video for the soup, and it's pretty good. It's pretty good. Do you like the Swedish pimple? I've never tried, to be honest with you. I really like a bait that stands horizontally, like a real bait, than a bait that's like this. That's just me. Don't get me wrong, Swedish pimple is a staple in ice fishing. Whiteboard's a must. I'm glad you guys like the whiteboard. So you guys pumped for the next ice fishing show? I'm pumped. I love it, man. I love that you guys come and support me. Love that you guys come to my seminar and interact with me. I really enjoy that. Yeah, I have. It's terrible. When your phone dies, what do you do? And it's not really real time. I don't like it. I don't like the deeper fish finder. So yeah, it's not my thing. It's not my thing. This makes you look. If this makes me look as smart as I am, this looks like a freaking 2-year-old drawing this. I bought a drifter. Okay, we're going back to it. First, you get the right jig head. We'll pull it out. We're going to drift it again because I guess people are logging live right now. This is the question I get the most. I got some drifter. What jig head do I use? Yeah, Ned rig head, but I'm going to show you why I like this jig head more than anything else. First, the weight. 1/8. You don't need to go heavier. Jig head. You know why I like this jig head? It's very small profile. Should focus. Focus. Anyway, small profile. And the lead is through the hook. Ooh. The lead is through the hook. So you know what this does? That doesn't make my bait stand like this. You ever seen a goby stand like this on bottom? No. Goby's always on bottom like this. Also makes my bait stand a little bit like this when I'm bringing it back up. Like a fish trying to swim away. Instead of like this, like other baits. Yeah, it's like an Edward bait, but hook, but with lead in the middle. They're really hard to find. There's only one company that makes them. So see, because I'm gonna rig it. Boom. I mean, this is probably the best rigging job I've ever done right here. Straight, compact head, super strong hook. I mean, what? Why wouldn't whitefish bite this? Yeah, it's a Ned head, but the lead weight, instead of leaving it like this, it will go back down like this if you see my videos. Dropped it again. Dropped it again. So that's how I rig it. 1/8. You don't need to go heavier. You don't need to go back down on bottom real quick. I like the fluttering action of the bait going down slowly. I catch a lot of lake trouts going like that. What's the proper way to spud your way out? Well, first of all, you should be spudding your way out, but now if you're fishing around here, there's about a foot of ice everywhere you go, if not more. You should be spudding around pressure cracks, yes, because pressure cracks open up. Pressure cracks, when they get cold, they go like this. And as it gets warmed up, they relax. Ice grows, ice relax when it gets warmed. Around pressure crack, you should get a spud bar early season and get to know your spud bar. You should test how many shots you need to go. You don't need to go full force to go through 3 inches of ice. 3 inches of ice is what's safe for me, black ice. And from there, you always make the same stroke, and then you can see, you know when you go through how many, if it's safe or not. What's the most common way to catch Lakers? Off bottom or swimming through the water column? Both, but I mostly swimming through the water column. Yes, they're fish that are gonna chase fish, and mostly through the water column. Sometimes they'll eat on bottom when they're shallow, feeding on gobies. Yeah, Z-Man does have one, but the hook's not so great on it, to be honest with you. I really like this one. No, I'm not. You know why I don't go to Spring Forks Fishing Boat Show? It's the best fishing of the whole season. No. They invite me. You want to go there? You want to be in my booth? We'll pay you. No. What's the percentage of Lakers comes from bottom? Well, they all come from bottom or semi-suspended and go up. A lot of them come suspended as the season comes through. I mean, it really depends where you're fishing. If you're fishing 120 feet of water, a lot of those fish are going to rise up. So that's, to me, bottom. But if you mean jigging on bottom, I would say 10%, 1 out of 10. 2 years ago was the other way around, but so far it's 1 out of 10. What's the best way to use a lipless? Same way you're fishing a tube or a swim bait through the water column. I like dead stick in mine, man. I really like the dead stick in action. They show up, they're like, I'm going to sneak up on this bait, it's not seeing it. And then you see it, you move it, they're like, oh man, no, I'm catching you now. But if you're jigging up and down, it's not really something a fish would do. That's the way I see it. How do you work the drifter for whiteys? Ryan, I made a video with crazy underwater footage. Underwater footage that nobody else has. Go watch it. It's all in depth. You can see it, how I catch them, what I do, how I target them, what I do with the rod. Watch it. Please. Guys, that's going to be a wrap for me, man. It's getting late for me. My throat's getting sore. Thanks for everybody who left a thumbs up. We will see you guys on the ice maybe this weekend. If you see me, do come say hi. Just try to respect my space. If you come see me and drill a hole 30 feet from me, I'm not going to be your friend, and I will give you a thumbs down in person. All right, guys, that's it, man. Thank you very much. We'll see you guys later. Now I got to go eat that burnt soup I made. Golly. No, I don't get pissed off. Keep asking questions. If I didn't answer your questions, it's because I didn't see it. Peace, boys.